Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Mark here with Coldwell Banker, Horizon Realty. I'm looking at foreclosures in the Okanagan and what's going to happen. I mean, coronavirus has impacted us. Right now, as I'm recording this, it's September 14th. As of September 15th, that is, really when the 6-month payment deferrals are really going to start to end for people that were given that opportunity to be able to defer their payments up to 6 months since the virus started. So we're going to look at the impact and what that's going to have, and going through the foreclosure process. Maybe it's a good time to buy. We haven't seen prices come down quite yet. We haven't seen a ton of foreclosures out there. It might be a matter of time. People might be in tougher situations, so we're going to keep a watch on that. So stay tuned and continue watching. So in March, banks offered the opportunity, with the help of the government of Canada, the strong suggestion from the government of Canada, to be able to defer a lot of the mortgage payments if you qualified for it. There's over 600,000 people, probably closer to 1 million actually, after all said and done, people that utilized the mortgage payment deferral. Who knows how long they allowed it or did it. Not everybody's going to do it for the full 6 months, but there's over 600,000, probably 750,000 at the very least from other numbers that I had saw. When the mortgage deferral started, it's all going to start coming. It started in March 15th-ish, and now 6 months, September 15th is now here. So we're looking at the foreclosures, and they might start coming down the pipeline if people are in tight situations. I mean, it's unfortunate situations, everything that's happening. And I mean, it's really unprecedented. So we can't really predict what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. The housing market has been on fire lately. Strong sales. People might not even get to the foreclosure ones, where they could probably list it, sell it really quickly, and just based on the strength of the economy, a lot of people are coming into town. The economy's not doing great. The job numbers still aren't quite there. All the other indicators in the marketplace would tend to lead to a little bit slower housing market than what we're experiencing. However, with rock bottom rates, a lot of people looking to move to Kelowna and the Okanagan based on a number of factors, the weather, the natural beauty. Kelowna has been known as heaven's waiting room. Historically was an older populated town. A lot of retirees come here to retire from the prairies, but now we're starting to see a lot of people moving from the lower mainland, getting out of the condos and starting to move and get some space, some yard to be able to move. And a lot of people are now working from home, so that is something that is changing and consistently changing and holding up and really driving the Kelowna's real estate market at this time. However, looking at it, so we're going to look at, it's called a short sale in the States, but we're going to look at the bank foreclosures and when people are, looking for a court order sale. So when we're looking at it, it can often be quite complex. Not every situation is the same. We can't really give you, A, B, and C. Every situation is going to be slightly different. Every lender is going to have a slight different position on each of the property. Normally, when we see foreclosures, it is bank owned at that point, and the banks will be selling it at. Typically, they'll reduce the rate. Or lower the price there to get a lot of activity on it and hopefully bid it up and get it to fair market value. It's all oftentimes due to financial hardships when you do see the foreclosure. So it's definitely not, a great situation for the sellers. And it's really unfortunate a lot of time. And COVID-19, hopefully, there will be more out there than normal times, but hopefully it is somewhat limited based on what's going out there. So some people may be forced to sell their home at a loss. They might owe more money on it and sell it. Might be underwater on a mortgage if they just bought it, don't have a lot of equity, and maybe the property's not up to snuff or it's there's other issues with it, so they can't get the money out of it. However, what we're seeing, that situation is more for different economy, different times. Right now, the market, we don't know where it's going to be in the future, but the market is keeping and strong. So we're not in that situation where if you were to buy 6 months ago, you're not underwater on your mortgage by any means. Prices are increasing based on this demand. However, things may change in the future, in the new year, once, depending on jobs, when things come back, once subsidies and all these things start to dry up, it's tough to know where we'll go in the future. The mortgage deferral was a good short-term measure, a great short-term solution, help people with their cash flow, help people get by and be able to put food on their table for their family. However, this could cause long-term issues. I mean, a lot of people, might have utilized this short-term. Over 600,000 people did, and the long-term effect could be if you didn't utilize that cash that you're saving monthly, even if you continued your employment. Hopefully you did. Hopefully you had, the CERB was available, and that for other people too. So if you didn't utilize and manage your money correctly, definitely could be a little bit of an issue here now when you have to start to go back and start repaying on your mortgage. Typically, before it gets to the foreclosure stage, it's going to take probably about 4-6 months or so to be able to go through the whole process with the banks, depending on how much they have going on. So it will probably be a little bit of time, mid of January, maybe start seeing more foreclosures, but it'll slowly creep up and go from there. There's a lot of government restrictions as well of evictions, and can't really kick people out based on the circumstances. Don't know where things are going to go in the future. It's unheard of times. Things are always changing month by month, day by day even. So might be some issues there, and might limit the amount of foreclosures that are out there. But typically what you look for when you are making a bid or when you're looking at foreclosures, they're often priced quite low. The reason being this, they price it quite low, and they try and get as many people looking at that property and bidding on it as possible to really drive that price up. And when they drive that price up, hopefully it'll be around the fair market value. So that's kind of the thinking behind on the pricing and the strategy on it. When you're looking at it on paper, it looks great. I mean, you're going to see pictures, and sometimes we see a lot of grow ups that were foreclosed on, a lot of properties that need a lot of work on them, a lot of lipstick, you could say, and a lot more than just lipstick. You kind of need to get down to the bones and really do a lot of work on a lot of these foreclosures. But you can sometimes get a good deal on them. You're often going to experience multiple offers. So if you are looking to get in on this property, you're going to have to do a lot of due diligence. You're going to be dealing with a lot of different people and making the offer. The process is going to be really drawn out. You are dealing with, when you are negotiating, you're not necessarily dealing with just one other party and that agent. You have to make an offer. The agent has to then submit it to the other agent. The other agent now has to present it to oftentimes it's the bank's lawyers, and present it to them and negotiate that way. So there is a lot of back and forth, a little bit slower. It's not as common sign. Once you do get an accepted offer, you can have subject conditions on it. Sometimes there isn't, sometimes there are. Depends on the property and depends on you. If you really feel comfortable with the property, you might be able to go ahead without subject conditions, and doing the subject conditions kind of as you're negotiating it, or do it before you even make the offer. That's oftentimes what we do see, just to at the end of the day, the banks really want to see an offer that will stand up and have a higher probability of closing when it does go to the court date and comes to possession date on it. When you are buying, I mean, you can do a due diligence. You have the opportunity to do an inspection. Typically, you're not going to have the financing clause in there. In certain circumstances, it's going to be a cash deal on it. So you make an offer on this property, foreclosure property. it gets accepted. You go back and forth. It finally gets accepted, and now you are good to go. However, normal times it is good to go. However, the property does have to go through court proceedings. So even though the lawyers have agreed and you have agreed on a price, the whole process has to go through due diligence and through the court process. This court process is usually about a 2-week delay on how things go. And so you make the offer, it has it all accepted, then you get a court date, and this court date 2 weeks out. And when you go to that court date, there's other opportunities for other parties to be able to make an offer on it. So it'll come to the table, and they'll say the price. Everybody, when you do get that accepted offer and the price is all public knowledge at this point. This is totally different than other deals that we do. Usually everything is all confidential. However, this is all just private information and this is public information. And so if you purchase it for $500,000 or you have an accepted offer at that price, everybody is aware of that price. So everybody that thinks they can bid on it based on that price might come to the court date. So you might be competing with 2 or 3, 4, who knows how many other people. Recently, we had a property, had some foundation issues. It was priced at $350,000. This is in a property in a location where the average price is about, at least double it. So you're probably looking about $800,000 to $1 million on these properties. This property is basically priced at lot value, had a gorgeous house on it. However, had a lot of foundation issues and foreclosure situation. This property eventually went to court, and so it was an accepted offer at $350,000. It was listed at $310,000. Lots of interest in it. Went to court, ended up selling for $510,000. So that is just kind of an idea that there are other parties that do come to the table when you do go to the court date. So be mindful of that, and you might have the risk of still losing it is still quite high based on it, unless you have a little bit more leeway and more room to go up on the property. So taking a look at it, don't necessarily shy away from foreclosure processes, but once you make those bids, everybody else gets to bid, and then you can also make a second bid at the court date to be able to still get it to increase your bid based on the competitiveness and where you're at. One thing, just make sure you're aware of the process. Make sure, if you're not handy, maybe when you are viewing these properties, if you are looking specifically for a foreclosure, bring somebody that's, handyman, contractor, anybody that like and trust to view these properties so you can make an educated decision, make an educated offer. And because you have to do all the due diligence ahead of time, you do not want to have, buyer's remorse at the end of the day. So although the price looks great when it's listed, there's a little bit more to it, and sometimes you might be better off waiting for just a normal sale based on the whole process. You might be strung out a little bit on the whole purchase process if you go through the court-ordered sale versus just going through a normal sale where you have 2-week subject conditions to remove. Anyways, thanks for watching. Appreciate you guys. Let me know if there's ever anything I can do for you. Foreclosures, hopefully there's not much more coming up here. Hopefully the financial situation and the employment situation here in the Okanagan continues and gets better and better, and we don't have a whole lot of financial distress situations, but hopefully that helps you out. Let me know if you have any questions. Reach out. Please like and subscribe, and be more than happy to talk to you guys. Take care. If you want to get copies of all the court-ordered sales here in the Okanagan, just shoot me an email, and I'll be happy to send you them to you. So reach out, Mark Coons at coldwellbanker.ca. Take care.